Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, I'll start lecture number 1 of week number 12, and that is about probability density function, which is a counterpart of probability mass function that we discussed in terms of discrete random variables. So, the probability distribution in general has a name, probability density function, when it comes to continuous random variables. How we can understand the relation between the CDF and PDF for a continuous random variable, I'll describe today. But if you recall, I told you that for the cases of these continuous random variables, we will first understand the concept of CDF, and from there we will derive the concept of PDF. So we'll do it today, and for that you need to understand this plot now. Just imagine we have some CDF of a continuous random variable, and say these are the values of the random variable x, and suppose the CDF is something like this. So now assume that you have some interval from say x1 till say x1 plus delta. So the total interval length is simply delta. And similarly, suppose you have another value of x2 and you take the same size interval, so you reach x2 plus delta. So again you see the interval size is the same, delta. And now just look at these probabilities. Since for continuous cases the probabilities are taken in terms of intervals, so just see here, this is say probability P1, which represents the probability of random variable x if x is within this interval delta from x1 to x1 plus delta. And if we have this interval, the same interval, but from x2 to x2 plus delta, we have a higher probability P2. So what we see now here is a relation between the CDF and the probabilities of those intervals. Please note that this probability P1 for the same size interval delta is smaller than P2 for the same size interval delta. So how can we write it now and relate it to the CDF and PDF? This is a very crucial, very important. We see that the higher the slope, the greater the probability for the same size interval. So we can write, and these are nothing but the probabilities, the probability distributions among the intervals of a continuous random variable values. So we can now write that the probability, and this all put together will be probability density functions. The density, the probability in this interval plus the probability in this interval, and so on, all the intervals put together will give you the probability distribution among the meaningful intervals of a continuous random variable. So if this is the case, we can write that the probability density function, the PDF of a continuous random variable is some relation between the CDF and the PDF. By the way, this PDF will have PDF, say, of a random variable x will be denoted as this symbol, and the CDF is obviously this symbol. So if you recall, the same symbol was used for CDF of a discrete random variable, but there was a different symbol for the distribution of probability of a discrete random variable. In case of a continuous random variable, the distribution, the probability distribution is given this notation, f sub x. And for discrete random variable, if you recall, that was p sub x. This was for the discrete case, if you recall. But now we are handling the continuous random variable, so we will be using these two terms, the CDF of a continuous random variable and the PDF, the probability density function, which is a particular name for the generic term probability distribution of a continuous random variable. So now we see here that the probabilities are related through the slopes. Lower slope for the same size interval, the probability is, the lower the slope of the plot of CDF, the probability is lower. The higher the slope of the plot of CDF, the greater the probability of the same size interval. So now we can see that we can write, and in these probabilities, all the probabilities can be written as the probability density function. So now we have a relation between probability density function and the CDF. So probability density function, the PDF, can be obtained by simply differentiating. The slope means derivative. The derivative of the CDF of a continuous random variable gives you the PDF. This is an important relation to be kept in mind, and this is so obvious. Why? Because we already know that CDF is nothing but the cumulative probability. And so, if we integrate this part, you should get this. And you get the CDF by cumulating or adding up the probabilities, which you already know. So, that is why these two are nicely related. When you add up all the probabilities, which means you integrate all the probabilities, you get CDF. So obviously when you differentiate CDF, you should get the PDF of a continuous random variables. Now important properties of the PDF, and these are given in terms of a theorem in your textbook. For a continuous random variable, x with PDF f sub x of x, the following holds. First, the CDF is always greater than or equal to 0. This is obvious. This is also like the axioms of probability. Second, the CDF is nothing but the PDF from, say, minus infinity till a value u of random variable x, and then integrate it. So you add up all the probability distribution till this value u, from minus infinity onwards till this value u. You have added up or you have integrated up all those probabilities, so you get the probability, you get the CDF of x. This is very obvious. And now you see the relation between this and this. These two interrelated. The PDF is the derivative of CDF, so the CDF is the integral of PDF. And C part is again so simple. If you integrate the PDF, the total probability should be equal to 1. So now we see that this PDF, this relation gives you the total probability of a random variable, and this cannot go beyond 1. I'll give you a challenging homework, not to be graded, but for your own understanding, to improve your understanding of continuous random variables. Please try to prove this. This is a little challenging at this particular stage, but if you try this, you will have more insight into the concept of continuous random variables. I'll move on. If you recall my last lecture, I told you that the probability of an interval between x1 and x2 for a continuous random variable can be obtained by utilizing this expression. The CDF at higher point minus the CDF at lower point, and I also gave you a pointer that we can find the same probability through another method using the concept of probability density function, because probability density function is the overall distribution of the probabilities of a continuous random variable, but in the form of a density, so you must utilize intervals only, and correspondingly you must utilize integrals to find the probabilities of meaningful intervals. So a theorem now, and that says if you want to find the probability that x is greater than x1 and less than or equal to x2, what should be the probability? How should we be able to calculate this if you want to find, if you want to utilize the PDF now and not the CDF? If you want to utilize CDF, it is simple. If you want to utilize the PDF expression, so you simply integrate within that interval the PDF, and you will obviously get this probability. And remember, since this is a continuous random variable, since x is a continuous random variable, so this probability is exactly equal to the probability that x is greater than x1 and less than x2, and that is equal to the probability that x is greater than or equal to x1 and less than x2, and that is perfectly equal to the probability that x is greater than or equal to x1 and less than or equal to x2. So you see, the loose and strict inequalities behave the same way. Why? Because the random variable is of continuous nature. Now an interesting recommendation, and that recommendation is, when you have both the CDF expression and the PDF expression available for a continuous random variable, to find the probability of certain interval of interest, always use the CDF to find the probability of an interval. But this is very simple. You simply plug in the values of x2 and x1 in the expressions of the CDF of random variable, and then you do the subtraction and you get the probability. But here you may have to do some complicated integration. So to avoid this integration, this is always the easy way out. But remember, this is recommended only for a single random variable. When we'll reach the concept and the chapter on multiple random variables, perhaps my recommendations would change. So remember, only for a single random variable, continuous random variable case, if you have both the CDF and the PDF expressions available, which can obviously be found through this relation. If you have a CDF expression available, you can simply differentiate it with respect to the variable and find the PDF expression. So if you have both these expressions available, to find the probability of the meaningful interval, an interval of your interest, it is always quick and easy to use this particular formula than this one, because this may involve some complicated integrations, but this is simple. You simply use the expression, plug in the values in the argument, and you subtract and you get the probability. So now a quick example. This is an example from your book. Suppose the CDF of x is 0 for x negative, it is equal to x for x greater than or equal to 0 and less than 1, and it is equal to 1 for x greater than or equal to 1. We did the same we used the same expression for the CDF in our last lecture, but just a quick redraw of this CDF. This is 1, this is 1, the CDF is like this, and then it stays as 1. This is 1. This is the CDF, the plot of this particular CDF. Now we want to find the PDF of x. B, the probability that x is greater than or equal to 1 by 4 and less than or equal to 3 by 4. So now I solve this example. If this is simple, you know, if you have the CDF available, you can always find the probability density function from the CDF by simply differentiating it. So if you differentiate this CDF, here it is a constant, here it is a constant. So the derivative of constant is 0 here and 0 here. Only the meaningful derivative, the non-zero derivative, will be in this range from x is equal to 0 to 1. So if you differentiate the CDF, you get the PDF of random variable x, and this is nothing but x. If you differentiate x, you simply get 1. Then obviously x is greater than or equal to 0 and less than 1. And the rest part is 0. The derivative here is 0, the derivative here is 0. Only here the derivative is equal to 1. So we have found the probability density function here. So this part A is solved. For part B, as I told you, you can utilize both the PDF expression and the CDF expression. So to find the probability that x is greater than or equal to 1 by 4 and less than or equal to 3 by 4, you can very easily use f sub x at 3 by 4 minus f sub x at 1 by 4. this relation. So if you use this relation, you will see how easy this becomes. This is the expression for CDF. So f sub x at 3 by 4 is simply 3 by 4, because whatever is x, the same is f sub x, minus f sub x at 1 by 4 is 1 by 4, so the probability turns out to be 1 by 2. Or equivalently, you can find the probability that x is greater than or equal to 1 by 4 and less than or equal to 3 by 4 by simply integrating from 1 by 4 to 3 by 4 the expression of the PDF, which means 1 times dx. You see, this is the PDF. So if you integrate this, obviously you will get 1 by 2. Here the expression was simple, so integration was simple, but just imagine if we had some complicated CDF expression and then obviously some complicated PDF expression, then finding the integral of that complicated PDF expression would have been difficult and maybe time consuming. But you always find the probability of interest quickly by just plugging in the values, the higher in the endpoints in the interval, in the plot, in the expressions of CDF, and you do the subtraction and you get the probability of interest. Always remember, the inequalities, whether loose or strict, behave the same way for continuous random variables. So I could have easily written this as the probability that x is greater than x and less than, the x is greater than 1 by 4 and less than 3 by 4, or x is greater than or equal to 1 by 4 and less than or equal to 3 by 4, and so on, as I have already told you. So this is now easy for you to grasp. My recommendation again is that if you have both the CDF expression available and the PDF expression available, to find the probability of a meaningful interval, always utilize the CDF expression. But this recommendation is only for one-dimensional continuous random variables. When we'll have 2 or more continuous random variables taken together, which we'll discuss in the next chapter, inshallah, my recommendation will change a bit. I'll now move on to a good example, a little elaborative kind of example on how to find certain probabilities of interest in cases of continuous random variables. So, my example. While walking in a park, the time, say x in minutes, between seeing 2 people smoking as a PDF, say f sub x of x, that is equal to lambda times x times e raised to the power minus x, for x obviously greater than 0 and this is equal to 0. Otherwise, we need to calculate first what is the value of lambda. Second, what is the CDF, cumulative distribution function, of the random variable x. Remember, this random variable x is now the time between seeing two people smoking. C part, what is the probability that Zohaib, some person who has just seen the person smoking will see another person smoking in 2 to 5 minutes or in at least 7 minutes. So these are four parts. A, B, C and C has these two parts. First is, and then so you see how we can easily find these probabilities. We will only utilize the concept of the PDF initially to find the probabilities of these of interest here. So I'll now move with the solution of this problem. You know that when you integrate the PDF of a continuous random variable on all the possibilities, you always have this total probability equal to 1, because integration is nothing but the sum of all the probabilities in a continuous random variable. So you will utilize this to find this constant lambda. So for part A, probability, the integral from minus infinity to plus infinity f sub x of x dx has to be equal to 1. But what is your f sub x? This, say, minus infinity to plus infinity lambda x e raised to power minus x. This is your f sub x. And you integrate it and you ultimately evaluate it equal to 1. So you will have lambda out and you will have the value of lambda. But the meaningful interval is from 0 to infinity, because your x is going from 0 onward. So minus infinity till 0, the integral is obviously 0. And you take lambda out, the rest is x e raised to power minus x dx. If you solve this, I think I'll not solve this for you, but just a little pointer, and that pointer is that when you will solve this integral, you will have an indeterminate form. So you will have to utilize L'Hopital's rule, and if you utilize L'Hopital's rule, you will ultimately see that this expression becomes equal to 1. This means and when you equate it to 1, it will be something like this, and this will imply that lambda is equal to 1. So this is a little kind of practice for you. Just attempt this integration and arrive at this. You will see that the lambda will become equal to 1. And if that is the case, our final expression for the PDF of this time becomes 1 times x e raised to power minus x for x greater than or equal to 0, because now lambda is equal to 1. So this expression becomes f sub x is equal to x e raised to power minus x for x greater than 0 and 0 otherwise, because lambda is equal to 1. So now we'll utilize this expression as the PDF of the random variable x. In part B, you are asked to calculate the CDF of x. So the CDF of x is to be calculated now. You know the CDF will be 0 if x is less than 0, and it will be some expression if x is greater than 0. So you can find this CDF by integrating from 0 till x. U e raised to power minus u du. I have replaced the expression and the variable x with a dummy variable u, so that when you have integrated this all, you take back the variable x, the term x here. So if you integrate this, again I'll leave this to you guys because these are simple integrations. You will have minus times x plus 1 e raised to power minus x plus 1. So your ultimate final CDF expression becomes CDF is equal to 0 for x less than or equal to 0, and it is equal to minus times x plus 1 e raised to power minus x, then we add 1 here for x greater than 0. So now you see you have obtained both the CDF and PDF expressions. This was our PDF after putting lambda is equal to 1. So this is the final shape of our PDF, and this is the final shape of our CDF of the same random variable x. So now if we have both these available, we can find the probabilities of interest. The first probability of interest is, what is the probability of seeing a person smoking in this interval from 2 to 5 minutes. So for part C, I need to find the probability that x is greater than 2 and less than 5. I can easily find this probability by using the PDF expressions, as I recommended. If both CDF and PDF are available, it is better to utilize the CDF instead of PDF expression. So I'll use the CDF expression now. So this probability becomes, this can be written as probability that x is less than or equal to 5 minus the probability that x is less than or equal to 2. Please think about it, why I have been able to write this interval as this interval. Draw some line on x-axis and then draw point 5 and the number 2 and the number 5 on as the values of x, and then we'll have the understanding on why I've been able to write this interval as this. So now you see this is nothing but an expression something like this: probability that x is less than or equal to some x, but this x is now 2 in this case and 5 in this case. But you know, I can always write this as f sub x at x, which means the CDF. So this is nothing but the CDF of x at 5, and this is nothing but the CDF of x at 2. And so, what is the expression of the CDF of x? The CDF of x has been obtained as this. So, I'll put 5 in place of x in this expression and I'll evaluate the probability, the CDF at 5. And then I'll put 2 as x in this expression and I'll evaluate the probability, the CDF at 2. So now you see how we move about it. So this becomes minus 5 plus 1. You have replaced x with 5 because now you are trying to find f sub x at 5, and this is the expression of f sub x. So minus 5 plus 1 e raised to power minus 5 plus 1, this all minus now the CDF at 2, which is minus times 2 plus 1 e raised to power minus 2 plus 1. So you see, we can now calculate this so easily. If you do these multiplications and additions etc., you will reach this point where you will have 1 minus 6 e raised to power minus 5 minus 1 plus 3 e raised to power minus 2. So this vanishes and the rest is 3 e raised to power minus 2 minus 6 e raised to power minus 5, which is almost equal to 0.37. So the probability that Mr. Zohaib, who has just seen a person smoking, will see another person smoking in 2 to 5 minutes. This probability, with probability 0.37, he will find next person smoking. And what about the other part of this problem? To find the probability of another person being seen by Zohaib in at least 7 minutes. So I'll solve this part as well. We are interested now in probability that x is greater than or equal to 7, which means at least in 7 minutes. You already know what we mean by this, the relation between this expression and the term at least. So I can always write it as 1 minus probability that x is less than or equal to 7. And so this can be written as 1 minus, this expression is nothing but f sub x at 7. So I can write it as 1 minus the expression of the CDF, and then I'll replace x with 7. So this will become minus times 7 plus 1 minus times 7 plus 1 e raised to power minus 7 then plus 1. So I have just used this expression of CDF to plug in the value 7 as x or x as 7, and if you calculate this, it will become 8 e raised to power minus 7, and that is almost equal to 0.007. This is not James Bond, because this is 0.007. If you remember, if you have watched some movies, James Bond, that was James Bond 007, not 0.007. Just a little lighter note. Now, you have seen that we have been able to find these two probabilities of interest through the CDF expressions. Now I'll see how we can find these expressions, these probabilities of interest through the expressions of PDF. So in my next slide, I'll see how we can find these. The expression of the PDF available to me is this. So I'll use this and integrate this for the meaningful interval, and I'll be able to find the probabilities of those two intervals. One was x is between 2 and 5, and the next was at least 7, which is x greater than or equal to 7. So this is another way of finding the same probability that x is greater than 2 and less than 7, but by utilizing the expression of CDF by integrating it from 2 to 5 dx. So this will be integral 2 to 5 x e raised to power minus x dx. If you remember, this is our now the final PDF expression. So utilize PDF expression, integrate this, and obviously you have to do this at home, and you will see that you again end up at 3 e raised to power minus 2 minus 6 e raised to power minus 5, and that turns out to be almost 0.37, the same probability. So now I'll simply quickly review the lecture. This is lecture number 1 of week 12. We have discussed the concept of probability density function, and we have related it to the concept of cumulative distribution function. So we have seen that the PDF of a continuous random variable is simply obtained by differentiating the expression of CDF. These are the three important relations for the PDF of a continuous random variable, and we also noted that if we have both the expressions of CDF and PDF for a continuous random variable available, we can find the probability of some meaningful interval, and my recommendation was that you must utilize the expression of CDF to find the probability of meaningful interval. If you have both of these expressions available for CDF and PDF, it is recommended that you utilize the expression of CDF. In this particular fashion, you find the meaningful probability. Then we solved a quick example which related the CDF and PDF, and then we found the probability of interval using the CDF as well as the PDF. Then I gave you a quick but detailed example where you need to find these four things: the lambda, the constant in the expression of the PDF, and the CDF from the PDF, and then the two probabilities of and the probabilities of two meaningful intervals, one this and the second this. So to find the value of lambda here, we utilized this relation, and we integrated, and we found that lambda is equal to 1. So this expression simply becomes this, where lambda is equal to 1. So this was our final expression for the PDF. We can simply differentiate this expression and find the CDF. So now this is our CDF expression, and this was our PDF expression. So now both of these expressions are available, so we can find the probabilities of meaningful interval. First, this interval, it can always be written as such, and so we can write this as the CDF at 5 and this as CDF at 2, and then you simply plug in the values of x in these expressions, and we find this probability. Then we went on to the next meaningful interval, and that was the probability that x is greater than or equal to 7. So this can be written as such, and this is nothing but 1 minus f sub x at 7. So when we plug in the values of x is equal to 7 in the expression of the CDF, we ultimately obtain this particular probability. And then we also noted that we can find the probability of meaningful intervals by using the expression for the PDF. This is the expression for PDF. If you integrate it between 2 to 5, you will reach this. For this part, I'll give you some practice homework, and that practice homework is that use the concept of CDF, the expression of CDF, and find this particular probability. Thank you very much for your attention and stay safe.